Hey, welcome back to the videos. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com and datingfire.com. Do you know how you know if you love somebody? Love is the most tricky of emotions for us to even begin to understand, and it can be even harder if you're wondering how to know if you love somebody. Is it really love, or is it just infatuation? Well, stick with me because that's what we're talking about today. How to know that you love someone. Okay, so before we get this whole thing started and rolling, make sure you take care of the big three right off the bat. Make sure you like and subscribe to the videos. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you know when the next one comes out. And of course, leave me your questions and comments below, especially if you have a certain video you want me to make. So how can you know for sure that you're in love with this guy, right? Well, before I tell you the signs of falling in love, I do have to ask you a couple questions. Do you feel in love with him, or do you just love the feeling of being with him? Now, it might seem like that's playing with words and it's the same thing, but it's actually important because it's not. Because if you feel love for a person, that's an important part of being in love. But if you just love the feeling that you experience when you hang out with this guy or you're around him, well, you could also just be infatuated. You could be in love with the feeling of being in love. Infatuation is not really love, by the way. It's often mistaken for love, but it's not. And it's important that you understand the difference. It's a highly charged state of being that really equates to lust more than love. Those initial chemicals that get dumped into your bloodstream when you meet somebody that you feel a strong desire for creates this perfect storm of desire in both of you. But the reality is that it's not love at all. It's simply a pure physical response to someone who might make some fast babies with you, if you'll pardon that expression. Hey, that's how Mother Nature works. She wants you to make kids and make big families. So let's jump into the signs of love, and then we'll see how it applies to you. So how to know that you love someone. 17 signs. Sign number 1, you're doped up. Look, falling in love means that your body is going to have a hormonal reaction. I know, not sexy when I say it like that, but that's pretty much what it is. It goes back to what I explained about infatuation. You're going to feel a ton of drug-like effects ranging from a racing pulse, you're going to have sweaty palms and sweaty skin, you'll have heightened energy, distracted thoughts. This starting to sound familiar? Yeah, that list goes on and on. You are literally under the effect of half a dozen or more chemicals in your bloodstream and your brain that affect the way you're thinking and feeling, including hormones like vasopressin, oxytocin, serotonin, adrenaline, phenylethylamine, dopamine, estrogen, and we all know about testosterone in the guys, right? Pretty huge recipe there, right? But that's what goes on in your bloodstream. So you can be sure that you're going to feel a wee bit dopey when the first part of love starts to really show up in your system. It's literally like being under the influence. Now, love itself, though, is actually when those chemicals start to taper off a little bit and you just start to feel a kind of a lasting, easygoing feeling. Sign number 2 is can't stop looking. One of the most dramatically obvious signs of love as it starts in your system is that you just can't stop staring at a person that you're in love with. You look at their face, you look at their eyes, their body, even, their hair, everything about them you just want to look at. And it seems so dang irresistible in the moment that you're near them. You gotta look. Now, I'm sure you've experienced this at some point, right? It was usually back in our teens that we found that certain people that we were attracted to or dating had this magical magnetism that kept us looking at them as much as humanly possible. You almost wish you could just sit there watching them for hours, but that would kind of get creepy. Sign number 3 is can't stop thinking. Yeah, another of the compulsive behaviors that we have is that we can't stop looking at them and we can't stop thinking about the person that we're in love with. Now, this is heavily influenced again by those love hormones that I mentioned. Those hormones are actually rewiring your brain to desire and bond with that person that you're in love with, which seems a little bit unfair, but hey, the reality of love is that you don't get to choose the people you fall in love with. Think about that. That's really important. Have you ever really chosen the person you've fallen for? You might think so, but it's not that way at all. So if you find yourself preoccupied with thoughts about your love interest, or you can't help fantasizing and imagining them, or you just keep replaying moments from the past with them, like rewinding a movie you're constantly streaming in your head, yeah, you're probably falling in love. But I would encourage you to distract yourself as much as you can and don't let yourself fall into this fascination too much with them. Constantly fantasizing about a person could put you in a position where you are the one that loves the most in the relationship, and that means you could find yourself riding a crazy emotional roller coaster with this guy until you both fall in love together. Sign number 4 is giving and giving and giving. One of the crazy signs, and probably the best sign of love, is the one that makes us affirm our belief in why love is so good, even if it doesn't always work out. We tend to become very generous when it comes to falling in love. We start giving our everything to the person that we want, right? We give them our time, we give them our energy, we give them our attention and focus, we give them gifts, we give them food. You know, love seems to inspire us to generosity, and that's a great thing. Probably the best side effect of falling in love. The more we give to others, the better everything can be. Sign number 5 is numb to other concerns. One of the curious signs that you're in love is that you don't really seem to care about other problems going on in your life, or at the very least, you won't notice those other problems. You'll feel that most of the things that were troubling you just don't matter all that much. Things like money troubles, no biggie. Problems with mom, so what? Your boss giving you grief, who cares? Girlfriend's not calling you back, hey, who needs her? Love has a great way of both distorting your emotions and diminishing your troubles. Sign number 6 is way out of the comfort zone. One of the things that a new love interest can do for you, and those love hormones of course, is that it pushes you out of your comfort zone, big time. You're way more willing to try new things. Everything from new foods, you'll try stuff you wouldn't normally even go anywhere near. You'll try out new clothes, especially if he buys you something new, you'll try it out. New adventures, if he drags you along to the rock climbing gym or the racetrack, you'll give it a whirl. New places, you'll have this thought of travel with him, and that means you're going to go places you'll have never gone to by yourself. Again, your life seems more open and expansive when you're in love, so you start exploring things you might have been interested in, or just to understand the world of your partner a little bit more. Sign number 7, nothing is too nasty. You ever notice how you'll do all kinds of wild and wacky things at the start of love? Nothing ever seems all that gross to you. Yeah, I'm kind of hinting at the ooey gooey stuff that we tend to do in the bedroom. When you're in love, you're not going to be as hung up on the small gross things you have to do. Body stuff, not a big deal. I won't go into gross details here, but you know what I mean. You'll find your threshold of icky goes way up when you're in love. You can tolerate a whole bunch more. Sign number 8, super energized. Another way that the body participates in the building of emotional love is in your energy level. Overall, you'll feel more energized. Some could even say that this energy doesn't just come from the adrenaline dumped into your system by those hormones. You see, love is itself a form of energy that we can tap into. Maybe not directly, like plugging your cell phone into the wall socket to charge it up, but love can have that effect on your psychic and physical energy levels. It feels like a recharge of our willpower, too. It allows us to tackle difficult situations that we might have given up on. Sign number 9, the body acts up. Scientific studies have shown that when we start to fall in love, we experience mild flu-like symptoms. Yeah, that's the actual description. You might feel a bit physically ill when the person that you love is not around. You can oscillate from feeling really excited and energized to feeling queasy and under the weather in just a matter of minutes. Your body is responding to the presence of and withdrawal from your love interest. Sign number 10, the quirks come out at night. Quirkiness is defined as characterized by peculiar or unexpected traits. And quirky things about our love interest will show up all the time as we're getting to know them. Maybe they are the type that apologizes too much. Maybe they snore. Maybe they have a silly laugh. Maybe they like to manicure their fingernails a lot. These are all part of the quirks that we experience about other people. Now, in the beginning stages of falling in love, we are so much more tolerant of the quirky behaviors and odd parts of a person's personality. We accept them at the start. What we must watch out for is the tendency to turn those quirks into things to get rid of or to change about the other person. We have to appreciate the diversity of behavior of our partners as much as we do the things that jive and are compatible with us. If you're in that accepting space, there's a good chance you're in love. Sign number 11, no pain, all gain. Believe it or not, even physical pain is muted when you've got that love bug going on. You'll notice that body aches and even your symptoms when you get sick are pushed to the background. You're going to have a much higher tolerance for discomfort. In fact, there was a Stanford University School of Medicine study where they had these participants look at a picture of the person that they were in love with. And what they found was that it reduced moderate pain, however you define moderate pain, I guess maybe that's pinching somebody, by up to 40%. Okay, it reduced their feeling of it. And then looking at the image of this person and inducing that same feeling of love also reduced severe pain up to 15%. I remember when I was dating and falling in love with somebody, we'd lay next to each other on the couch in the most uncomfortable ways, right? Because you had to kind of intertwine and cuddle. And yeah, as we watched movies, we'd do this. And of course, both of you are cramping up. It's not terribly comfortable all the time, but you don't want to move because you got that just right spot of holding them. Well, same thing, right? Those little pains of cramping up when you're in that position, they just don't register. Who needs ibuprofen when you've got love? Sign number 12, what does your gut say? One of the most reliable, if not the most reliable, indications of how to know if you're in love with somebody is you start hearing that voice inside you telling you that this is something that's right. Most people don't know the real source of this focus on trusting your gut. That's what it really is. It's trusting your instincts. Scientific studies have actually revealed there's a whole nerve center in your body comprised of this thing called the vagus nerves. Now, it's centered in the brainstem, and the vagus nerve travels down the neck and into the chest, and then it splits out into 2 different veins, and each one of those is part of the system, and it's comprised of tens of thousands of nerves that go into your heart, your lungs, your stomach, your pancreas, and every organ in your gut. So yeah, it's like a whole secondary nervous system in there, of a part of your body's awareness that's only focused on your gut and your internal organs. And it's one that you should probably pay attention to because it has its own intelligence. This is why you get sensations from this part of your body when you're contemplating situations or people in your life. Listen to your gut because it probably is very aware of the answers that you can't see. And yes, it knows if you're in love or not too. Sign number 13, you elevate them. When it comes to meeting needs when you're in love, you might find yourself prioritizing your partner over yourself. You have a willingness to put another person's needs and desires over your own. And just like with physical generosity, you'll find yourself going out of your way to accommodate them and make them happy. You'll find yourself reorganizing and reprioritizing to make things work. What we have to do is watch out that this behavior doesn't go on too long, as it can blind us to relationships that might not work out the way we want or the way we need them to. And we run the risk of overlooking our own needs and not giving ourselves the self-care that we need. Sign number 14 is you've got the triangle of love. Cornell University's Dr. Robert Sternberg's idea is that there are 3 primary elements of love. The first one is intimacy, and that's the desire to feel closely connected. The second is passion. That's physical and emotional stimulation. We know that one. And then the third is decision, commitment. This is the resolve to stick together. And it might not be conscious, it's just a resolve. Now this is called the triangle theory of love, and it shows the 3 necessary elements. Keep in mind that the third one is usually, again, more implied than an actual decision. Very few guys sit down and go, okay, I'm going to commit to her. We don't do that, and neither do you really. We just kind of make it up as we go along, and the decision just happens naturally. Now, a couple of these signs I just don't have the time to cover in the video today, but you can get them at the site. You can go on over to datingadviceguru.com and check them out. Sign number 17, though, is you might be freaking out. Emotions tend to become more volatile and passionate when we're in love, which means you're going to feel yourself almost getting nonstop PMS. Well, okay, not quite that bad, but you're going to find yourself getting much more flustered over the small stuff. These freakouts are normal. In fact, your friends have probably picked up on your heightened anxious state, and they just don't know how to tell you to chill the heck out. Another way that you're freaking out is that you might be feeling that anxiety of wondering, how do you keep them interested in you and attracted to you? You're dealing with a hair-trigger feeling of being emotionally vulnerable, and you are. You're exploring your own love as well as the uncertain space of another person's feelings about you. That's going to really challenge you. You're in a place where you're in love, the most powerful feeling of all, and yet you might feel terribly unstable. You might find yourself reaching for a way to steady yourself. You're even going to find yourself wanting to say the big 3 to them at some point. The big 3 words. You know, those 3 words that mark the start of something special. You're a Taurus? Just kidding. You know what the big 3 are. I love you, right? Somehow you feel compelled to say that to a guy as soon as you even suspect that you might be in love. We all do this. We all feel this compulsion to confess our true feelings, even if it's not the best idea. But telling him your feelings too soon could actually scare a guy off before the relationship can really take off. Even if you know you love this guy, you still have to know he's going to love you back. In fact, most women really don't know what to say to men to make him hear her or to make him really connect with her. fire. Trust me on this, I have been doing this for so long now, and the one thing I encounter consistently, not only with my therapy and counseling clients, as well as my dating and relationship clients, is this one thing, is not really understanding what the other person is looking for to make that subconscious decision to connect to you and to fall in love with you. Love is, for lack of a better explanation, one of the greatest mysteries of life, and it really is, mostly because there's this component that's emotions that we don't always understand, but there's the emotions of the other person and how they experience it. Do they feel it the same way we do? And you have all these questions about what's going on when love starts to come into your relationship. And believe me when I tell you that there's no place that's more important than when it comes to a guy, because guys are not the same when it comes to expressing these feelings. They have a very distinct pattern in how they experience love, how they express love, and how they actually start to feel and build that love in a relationship. And you got to know how that works, or you're going to be clueless. It's kind of like having a minefield you have to run across to get to the other side, and you've got no map. You got no idea where they are. How many people are going to want to go out there? Not many. You're going to go as carefully as possible, and it's going to take you forever to get through it. One of the big indicators that guys have that tells them that they're in love is how fast they start feeling this connection for you. And if it takes too long, if you take too long to build that feeling of connection and love with him, he's going to feel, well, it's not real. He's just going to be like, well, I just don't feel it. So he's going to move on. That's one of the things that breaks a lot of relationships that would have been perfect. If she had known what to do and how to connect with him fast and get this feeling built fast, she wouldn't have lost him the way she did. She probably would have managed to create the relationship that would stick, that would connect, because that's one of the signs that the guy looks for. How quickly and easily is this happening? Is it taking effort? If it takes a lot of effort for him, he's going to know it's not right. It's just going to be a gut feel. Remember that gut thing. If there's one person that makes a lot of gut decisions, believe it or not, it's a guy. He doesn't have the emotional IQ to be able to sort through and discuss his emotions, but he does feel them and he does know what they're telling him. So he's going to trust his gut when it comes to that. Your only chance is to really know the express lane, you know, those lanes that you have, like the one at the supermarket when you have 10 or fewer items. The ones that get you through faster are the ones that are going to make the love happen quicker too. So how do you do it? How do you create that connection with a guy really, really fast? Well, it's an important thing to develop, and you have to know how to do it. The link you see below me here. That's right. Go to datingfire.com, connect with him. That's datingfire.com/connect with him. It's a special report I wrote. It's not a video, it's a report you can go read about how this connection actually works in guys and how important it is for you to understand a man's connection code. Every single guy has this code. He has a particular way of connecting. It's kind of like if you've ever been overseas, or if you've ever tried to plug a power adapter in Europe or in Australia or in another part of the world, they have different plugs. They don't work there. And if you don't have the adapter for it, you're not going to be able to connect and get the power. It's the exact same thing with relationships. If you don't know what his connection style is, you're never going to be able to adapt to him. The power is never going to flow, and the love won't either. So go on over, check out the report, go over to datingfire.com/connect with him. datingfire.com/connect with him. Go check it out. It's super important that you read that report. It won't take you that long. Go check it out now. And hey, before you run away, make sure you also do the big 3, like and subscribe to the videos, because they're awesome. Hey, why wouldn't you want to keep seeing these things, right? Before you go to the next video, make sure you also turn on the notifications so you know when my new ones come out. And if you do have a video that you'd like me to make, leave that as a comment below. But right now, you got to go over to datingfire.com/connect with him and get that report. Hey, this is Cavallo from datingfire.com. As always, live and love with passion.